the real men. And in a lot of ways, like manliness, the thing that makes men men, the thing that drives women crazy about men is also oftentimes the thing that we love about men, right? And the thing that drives men crazy about women is the thing that we love about them. We wouldn't want to change them. My point is it's hard for men to see what it's like to be a real man, right? We grow up thinking, well, to be a real man is to be tough, like to not feel pain or show pain when you're injured, when you, whether emotionally or physically, to not have emotions. Like that's what it means to be a man, and that's not real. Like that's not vulnerable. That's being a wimp in all, truth of the word. Like if you can't show up and say, hey, this is actually what I'm feeling, take it or leave it, that's great.
There's part of that sort of a real thing. We want men to protect us because they're larger than we are most of the time, and they need to be able to protect us, especially if we choose them as a mate and we have children.
You want that strength.
We want the strength.
I like to see when a man is like stepping up for his woman, or for any woman, or for anyone for that matter, and in a place of protection and being the protector because they're strong or whatever it is, and I love to see that. And the problem, there's nothing wrong with that. Right. This looks really great.
Right.
Is there something deeper?
Right.
Right? Like, just because this man can show up and fight or protect when he needs to, that doesn't mean that he is emotionally and spiritually strong. It means that he is physically ready to step up when he needs to. Is he willing to step up when he's wrong, when he's made a mistake?
That's where the real strength lies.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the strength.
Well, they're both
and that's,
strength.
And that's beautiful.
One's not necessarily better than the other.
Yeah.
They're all good, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, you can be strong and mean. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing strong about that strength.
Right. You'd rather have kind and weak?
Well, I know.
Yeah, you want to have both, right?
You
or
do.
all of it,
Yeah. What would a truly, empowered man actually look like now?
Sure.
Now, what would we be modeling when you see the men out there, when you're working with them, and you see them truly in their power, what does that look like?
Yeah. I don't know if this is true or not, but I had a friend tell me that, when a man is sitting in his absolute power, he's sitting in his heart. And that can be from your heart. That can be why you go to war. It can be why you start a fight. It can also be why you apologize and why you say, hey, I was wrong, or hey, the reason that I showed up this way in the relationship is because I was feeling insecure about the fact that you were talking to this other guy, or I was playing out my own stories in my mind. Like, if it's from your heart, that's strong to me. Your heart and your truth. That would be my answer, just off the cusp.
Okay, I have a question around that I think somebody would bring up, especially the people that watch me. You said if they were in their heart, that in your heart it would have someone go to war. And I have no judgment around that, but I would like to address heart and war and the joining and what that would look like. Like, why would... Because women don't understand war, most of us. And men absolutely understand war.
Yeah.
I'm not encouraging war or not encouraging war. I'm curious as to the heart and war and what that marriage is.
I think if we were all in our heart, we wouldn't need war. But not everybody is, right? There are lots of times where someone is just not in their heart. They're not in a good place. So for me, I can be in my heart and protect my family, or I can protect other families. If someone is attacking, and we need protection, that is coming from a place in my heart. It doesn't mean I want to harm that other person. Like, that other person probably has a family and kids too, but if they're coming at me, there needs to be an ability to protect.
And our civilization has been at war from the beginning of time.
Yeah.
And so it's a natural ingrained thing, I think, especially on men, to think about the protection of their family, right?
Yeah.
Which then, there are young men that go off to war all the time that believe in their heart of hearts that they're doing it out of love. Doing it out of love for their family or their country or, their town. They're doing it because they feel they need to protect. And I believe that some of this common ground that we're trying to achieve, the powers that are larger, that have got control over manipulation factors, I think they go after our heart. And then they use our own heart against us. They take our fears, our insecurities, our desires, and all of the stuff that it genuinely makes us a good person. And they're good, they're calculating, and they're very precise, so that they go into that place. You know, I was talking the other day with a woman about, I think I'm going to lead into this here. When we allow access into our most delicate and gentle places, into our heart, into the depth of who we are, the responsibility for that other person that we're allowing access to, I think, should be addressed. And then our responsibility for discernment in all places of how we allow access into that place, because that's what dials us in and starts moving us around. You know, it's like our little Pandora's box, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it's also our most fragile and powerful space.
Yeah, this idea of someone else, this idea of responsibility and the responsibility that you give to someone else for the safety of your heart, it's a tough subject for me. Lately, I've been more on the side of, hey, we are responsible for our own hearts. No one else is responsible for it. I'm not going to give anyone else responsibility. Not that I'm shutting them out or putting up a wall. It's more so just like, my heart is my responsibility. So if I'm in a relationship and someone does something that injures my heart, then it's my responsibility to take care of my heart, right? So,
which is perfect.
Right. I may need to talk to her and say, hey, this is what wasn't okay. This is what hurt. This is how I'm handling it, and to see how she responds. And if it's kind of a, well, screw you, like, that's your problem, then all right, I might need to shut something down. I might need to, I don't know if I need to end the relationship just yet, like, depending on the offense. But if I can't trust someone else with my heart, not because of my own trust issues, but because of the way they're showing up, then it's my responsibility to take care of my heart by either ending the relationship or setting a boundary.
And I would like to address the person that did this in the first place. The person that feels as though they're so into taking care of themselves, or they're so authentic, or they're so dialed into what's in alignment for them, that their level of responsibility for any way that they show up and behave outside of that is on the other person. So it's very healthy that that what I believe what Mark said sounded very healthy. But I also see this other person as, okay, so when you get to know somebody intimately, a lot of times you share with them your weaknesses, you share with them some of your pain from your past, you share with them some of the spots in you that could really kind of take you out. You really reveal yourself. And in doing so, if they have put themselves in a position to convince you that that's a safe place to be, and you've thought you've been discerning and you thought that you knew them well, and then they turn and they decide that this is the safe place to strike, this is the good way to take you out, this is the thing to not pay attention to, this is what I just, because it's all about me, that's the person that I'm also wanting to address. I think it's the responsibility of both people in relationship to maintain each other's hearts and their own. I think it's a combined effort. Because if it's always about just protecting your heart and discerning about whether or not, well, in the beginning, a lot of people will put their best foot forward and they will show you a face or a mask, and it can last for a long time. And they can get really deep in there before they finally reveal who they truly are. And they can be very, very damaging people. And you've already given away so much that they lay you out.
Yeah, it's trust, right? And
I
think I want to differentiate between responsibility and just access, right? Like, I have the way I see it is I have responsibility for my heart and the well-being of my hearts. I will give someone else access to the most vulnerable spaces, the spaces where, like you said, they could take me out. When I trust them, like, they have access to all of that, and I trust pretty quickly. And it's their choice whether or not they want to choose responsible actions that would care for my heart, to care for those most vulnerable spaces.
It is their choice.
And if they want to have that responsibility for my heart, then they will treat it with care, right? There's a difference between like responsibility and being responsible, if that makes sense. Like choosing wise choices with the heart, because I really don't think they are responsible for my heart.
Okay. They're responsible for their behavior.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, they're responsible for their behavior.
You know that there are people out there that they get engaged, and that this is like a subconscious behavior, and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's something I don't know if it's considered. But when people get real deep and they don't become responsible for their behavior around another person's trust, the person that's doing the trusting, when it all comes down, it not only has it taken a lot of time out of their life, it a lot of times goes after their resources. It goes after their health resources. It takes them out. A broken heart actually can physically be seen on a camera. So their first responsibility to themselves is to then go back and heal that heart that they chose to share. But also financially, people get nailed.
Yeah.
They get laid out. A lot of times there's collateral damage in the kids, if for one or the other. So I think that this just jumping in quickly, my thing is, how do we start coming back together now that we know, because we're getting smarter, with the collateral damage. Well, wow, if I trust this person with my heart, I could, this could blow up my business. It could blow up because my emotional spaces, you're going to get tweaked. Anybody that doesn't get tweaked, it wasn't really that type of relationship to start with.
Right.
And putting it all back on that person, well, why are you triggered? It's like, well, I'm triggered because I, left you let you this far in because, I took you for your word. Right. I trusted when you looked into my eyes. I signed a contract with you.
Yeah. I guess there's a difference also between someone who's maliciously doing something to hurt you, to take your money, to abuse the trust that's been given, and then someone who is genuinely trying their hardest and they accidentally are doing things. Really in a good relationship, most of the time, it's not on purpose, right?
Right.
So I think.
However, I like to say it wasn't not on purpose.
Sometimes, yeah.
Even
when you love the person, you
it's
make a selfish choice.
It's like when people have affairs, they say, "I didn't mean for it to happen." And my comeback is always, well, but you didn't mean for it not to.
Right.
So there is an awareness.
Right, you don't trip and have an affair, right?
You don't trip into it. No, nobody, I didn't mean to drop the eggs.
Yeah. Right.
And I can't, I can't judge people, and I won't judge people. I don't think any of us are perfect. I just feel like that we're trying to find a common ground, and for me, it's right now in relationships between men and women, and being able to come into the single world and get an exit strategy as well. How do we exit the single world? How do we start finding each other again? And we're so busy right now healing all of our hearts because it's such a mess that maybe the first step in is for men and women to try to start understanding each other, and that's why I appreciate you coming and talking.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put a pin here, because we've been on here for a bit, and I want to make sure that there's enough for you to soak up. Please, if you're interested in this conversation, subscribe and comment. I know that Mark is hosting retreats, is that right? Workshops. He's somebody that would be good for you to look up if you have a lot of questions, or you find this conversation might be something you'd like to have more of. But yeah, absolutely subscribe. The more subscribers, the more it makes it worth it for us to continue to put time and energy into this. And we would love to hear and address what you have to say. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you. If you'd like to reach me, you can get me at admin@thezensoul.com.
You hear that? One more.
Admin@thezensoul.com.
There you go. Peace.